Hello and welcome. Namaste from New Delhi. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Gautam Roy. Coming up over the next 1 hour. Political turmoil in France deepens. President Emmanuel Macron accepts Prime Minister Sebastian Lecornu's resignation after naming him for the post just last month. Egyptian President al-Sisi praises Trump's Gaza peace plan as Hamas, Israel and the US and its negotiators are set to hold hostage prisoner exchange and ceasefire talks in Egypt today. US shutdown extends into its 6th day as differences persist between Democrats and Republicans. White House warns of imminent mass layoffs. Setback for Donald Trump as he seeks to send the military to cities over objections of their Democratic leaders. An Oregon federal judge temporarily blocks a bid to send National Guard troops to police Portland. Bihar is on alert in India as water level rises rapidly in the Kosi river as 49 are killed and hundreds evacuated in upstream Nepal, which has been hit by heavy rains. Rescue and relief work is also underway in landslide-hit Darjeeling. Well, first up, France's President Emmanuel Macron on Monday accepted Prime Minister Sebastian Lecornu's resignation, said the presidency, plunging the European nation further into political deadlock. Lecornu's resignation was unexpected and unprecedented and marked another major deepening of France's political crisis. Macron named Lecornu, former defense minister, last month to the post. But the largely unchanged cabinet lineup he unveiled late Sunday was met with fierce criticism across the political spectrum. Lecornu had faced the daunting task of finding approval in a deeply divided parliament for an austerity budget for next year. Lecornu's two immediate predecessors, François Bayrou and Michel Barnier, were ousted by the legislative chamber in a standoff over the spending plan. According to official data, France's public debt has reached a record high. French stocks dropped sharply, as did the euro, on the news of the resignation. Lecornu handed his resignation to Macron on Monday morning. Now let's get more on this development with DD India's Akshay Dongre. Well, hi Akshay, the immediate impact of the latest PM resignation in France seems to have been on its stock market, but what are the larger implications not just for France but also Europe?
Well, the kind of political instability that we have seen in France, that is also one of the largest economy of Europe, clearly also shows the kind of turmoil that is there present in the European countries, especially when it comes to political crises. This is the 5th prime minister in 2 years for Macron after he was re-elected in 2022. Clearly, political instability is going to continue because there is no solid solution with Emmanuel Macron at this point in time. The latest resignation came because the allies and the adversaries both questioned this. The cabinet decisions that were taken, or rather the composition of the cabinet ministers that was selected by the latest prime minister of France, especially some believing that the members were too right wing, or some were believing that they weren't right wing at all. So it's also besides the kind of budget issues that we are seeing in France, especially with the people calling for higher budgets on the 1%, on the richest of France, and then opposing any kind of budget cuts when it comes to social security and other kind of programs. Besides this, political turmoil in terms of political ideology and the members who are getting selected or who are forming the government is a big crisis that has emerged in front of Emmanuel Macron. But as far as larger implications are concerned, Clearly, it is going to give further, leverage to US as far as its own economic policies are concerned, with especially the kind of instability, political instability, as well as economic instability that we are seeing in France. Also, may mean that there can be an entire different kind of results we can see if France goes to votes, and especially with the opposition asking for resignation of Emmanuel Macron at this point in time, with the repeated changes in the government and no political stability, it's highly likely that we can see a total paradigm shift in French politics in the next election whenever they happen.
Well, certainly that is a possibility. And Akshay, is Macron really running out of options now as to who he could call upon to take on the mantle of his premiership? Because more than being an exalted position, it now resembles a guillotine.
Well, absolutely true. That's absolutely correct. Emmanuel Macron started running out of option after the third prime minister resigned, and now this is the fifth one. We don't know who is going to be the sixth. Emmanuel Macron is bringing some of his closest allies in the political circles for this very important position, but none of them has held on to the position of the prime minister, and that certainly has eroded power of Mr. Emmanuel Macron himself.
And the French far right, how will it look to capitalize on this? I mean, there's still some time for Macron's own term, but increasingly it might seem to him that his days too are numbered.
Well, it's a classic example of "we told you so" as far as the French right wing is concerned. They are saying that we said that Mr. Macron will not be able to provide any kind of security to the people, any kind of social security, any kind of financial security, and they are now claiming that they had already predicted his term to be like this, especially with the political power of Emmanuel Macron shrinking with every passing year, and the right wing making more and more gains, with Ms. Le Pen herself being a very vocal critique of Emmanuel Macron, and a rising political leader in the French politics. But once considered a pariah, the right wing are making steady gains into the French politics, and it seems that this kind of instability will become a perfect ground for the right wing to grow more and more in numbers, especially with the kind of austerity measures that are being talked about, and the kind of insecurity that there is in the French society.
Could all this precipitate early elections, Akshay?
Pardon?
Could all this precipitate early elections?
Well, yes, there have been demands, and it's quite embarrassing for the president to, select 5 prime ministers in just a matter of 2 years. It itself is questioning the legitimacy of Emmanuel Macron and how his political understanding will lead France.
Certainly. Well, let's see what kind of a path does he take now. Extremely narrow it's getting for him. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment, Akshay Dongre. Now, Israel and the Hamas will be holding indirect negotiations in Egypt on Monday amid hopes for a possible agreement on ending the Gaza conflict based on Donald Trump's ceasefire plan. Trump has promoted a 20-point plan aimed at ending the fighting in Gaza, securing the release of remaining hostages and defining the territory's future. Israel and the Hamas have agreed to parts of the plan. Well, the Hamas on Friday accepted the hostage release and several other statements, but sidestepped contentious points, including calls for its disarmament, which it has long rejected. Trump welcomed Hamas's response, saying he believed Hamas has shown it was ready for a lasting peace. He told Israel to stop bombing Gaza immediately, but its attacks on the enclave have continued through the weekend. Now, speaking to reporters ahead of the talks, Donald Trump sounded optimistic, saying that he and a lot of countries surrounding Israel had some very good meetings with Hamas.
Yeah, we did it very quickly. We had some very good meetings. The countries of the world, a lot of the countries surrounding Israel, frankly, Muslim, Arab, and many others have had great meetings with Hamas, and it looks like it's working. So we'll wait for a little while, see how it all turns out.
Meanwhile, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that the responsibility lies with the Hamas to fully accept the peace plan.
Well, we accepted the deal. as did all the world. It was President Trump's plan. Hamas says that it accepted the deal. Now the onus is on Hamas. This plan consists of two parts. The first part is releasing all the hostages. Israel makes a tactical withdrawal, stays in Gaza. And then the second part is meant to demilitarize Gaza and disarm Hamas. That will be negotiated. Of course, I can't tell you if Hamas will agree to it. I think that it's possible. I hope it'll happen, but I can't guarantee that it'll happen. And so if it doesn't happen, what President Trump has said is that he will back Israel completely in acting forcefully against Hamas. Well, let's hope that we can finish it the easy way and not the hard way.
Now, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has praised Donald Trump's Gaza plan on Monday as negotiators from the Hamas, Israel and the US have converged on Cairo to discuss a hostage prisoner exchange and ceasefire. Meanwhile, a day before the conflict's second anniversary, Israelis gathered as the hostages square in Tel Aviv on Sunday, praying for the return of the hostages. Many in the crowd sat in silence, while others wept or joined chants led from a makeshift stage. On the 7th of October back in 2023, the Hamas attacked Israel and it triggered the conflict in Gaza. The Hamas killed 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and about 251 were taken hostage. Now, tensions are running high in Chicago and Portland as President Donald Trump has pushed forward with controversial plans to federalize National Guard troops, moves that Democratic governors call a violation of state authority. But Donald Trump has also suffered a setback. Take a look.
Chicago is on edge as 300 Illinois National Guards prepare to take to the streets after President Donald Trump ordered troops to America's third largest city. Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker remains defiant and bitterly opposed to the act. He calls the federal move un-American and an attack on the state's autonomy. Trump has branded Chicago a war zone as a justification for deploying soldiers. In Oregon, the standoff has deepened. A federal judge has temporarily blocked a similar order, ruling that protests in Portland do not meet the constitutional standard for a rebellion. But that hasn't put a lid to the controversy. California Governor Gavin Newsom confirmed that 300 Guard members from his state have already been sent north to Oregon, raising new legal and jurisdictional questions. The administration claims federal intervention is warranted by violent unrest, yet crime in these cities is reportedly falling. Meanwhile, violence erupted in Chicago. Border Patrol agents shot a woman after a vehicle confrontation, marking a dramatic flashpoint as tempers boil over. With lawsuits piling up and protests planned through the week, both sides appear to have prepared for a long haul, setting the stage for a prolonged and politically charged showdown. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now, Trump administration officials issued a warning on Sunday that Americans will increasingly feel the pain of an ongoing U.S. government shutdown. Most federal operations remained shuttered as no tangible signs of negotiations have emerged between U.S. congressional leaders since Trump met them last week. Here's a report.
The Trump administration has warned that it will start mass layoffs of federal workers if the shutdown stalemate persists. As the shutdown entered its fifth day, White House National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett said he still saw a chance that Democrats would back down. Hassett directs the White House's National Economic Council. He has pinned hopes for progress in talks during next week. Talks will center on addressing expiring Obamacare health subsidies. The Senate's Republican Majority Leader acknowledged the two sides were currently at a stalemate. US President Donald Trump said that firing of federal workers is taking place right now as he blamed the shutdown on Democratic lawmakers. Two unions representing federal employees have asked a California federal court to stop the Trump administration from conducting sweeping layoffs that could permanently eliminate jobs deemed non-consistent with President Donald Trump's priorities. The American Federation of Government Employees and the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees argued that a temporary restraining order was necessary to prevent significant harm.
Taking place right now, and it's all because of the Democrats. The Democrats are causing the loss of a lot of jobs with their, it's a shutdown. It's their shutdown, not our shutdown, it's their shutdown.
No tangible signs of negotiations have emerged between congressional leaders since Trump met with them last week. Rank and file Senate Democrats and Republicans have held informal talks aimed at finding common ground on healthcare and other issues in hopes of reaching a deal to reopen the government. On Monday, the Senate is due to vote for a fifth time on the stopgap funding bill that has already passed the Republican-controlled House of Representatives and on a Democratic alternative. Bureau Report, DD India.
And still to come on DD India NewsHour. President Draupadi Murmu conferred MY Bharat National Service Scheme Awards for 2022-23. And the Indian Navy has commissioned INS Androth in Visakhapatnam.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, Russia's defense ministry on Monday has said it downed 251 Ukrainian drones overnight. Ukraine struck the Russian region of Belgorod in an overnight shelling, damaging power infrastructure that left thousands without power. Electricity was restored by Monday morning. Russia's defense ministry said that its alert systems intercepted and destroyed Ukrainian fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles. Dozens more were shot out of the skies over the Kursk and the Belgorod regions. Australian police will interview a man accused of opening fire from a Sydney apartment window and critically injuring at least one person on Monday. The police are seeking to establish his motive while ruling out links to terrorism. The suspect allegedly fired up to 50 shots at random from a .30 caliber rifle on Sunday night in the suburb of Croydon, that is Croydon Park, before the police apprehended him. Two people were treated in hospital with one undergoing surgery.
Until we establish the circumstances, which will be confirmed by when we interview him, we'll have a better understanding of his motivations for why he's done what he's done tonight. No links to any gangs? No links at all to any organised crime or any terror. He's a 60-year-old male who does have a couple of children and has very few recorded interactions with the police over the last 20 years.
Death toll from an Indonesian school collapse rose to 54 on Monday as rescuers searched for more than a dozen still missing. Part of the multi-story building on Indonesia's Java island collapsed suddenly last week as students gathered for afternoon prayers. Rescuers were still working round the clock in the rubble of the school. At least 13 people were still missing. Investigators have been examining the cause of the collapse, but initial indications suggest that substandard construction may have contributed to the incident. There's been another wave of drone sightings in Germany over the weekend, one at Munich airport on Friday evening and another near Frankfurt International, the country's busiest airport. Joining us now from Berlin is DW correspondent Chiponda Chimbolu. Good afternoon, Chiponda. Bring us up to speed on what really happened.
Thanks for having me. Well, dozens of flights were diverted and cancelled at Munich International on Friday evening. And that was, of course, the second drone sighting in 2 days. Now, also on Friday, a drone was spotted flying quite close to Frankfurt International, which is the country's busiest airport. Now, a man was arrested in that incident. And over the weekend, we did hear from Defense Minister Boris Pistorius, who tried to reassure Germans in an interview with a newspaper. He said that there have been no concrete threats from the drones and that it is important to view the situation calmly. Now, Pistorius also went on to add that good progress is being made on drone defense, but the defense minister still downplayed expectations that the German army could be made responsible for shooting drones wherever they appear. Germany was only recently equipped with armed combat drones, so the country has plenty of work to do when it comes to defending itself against enemy drones. And while shooting down drones is possible, it is still very expensive and also dangerous when it is overpopulated areas.
And Chipenda, what challenges is Germany facing in responding to these drone incidents?
One challenge that Germany faces is the distribution of responsibility. Now, the responsibility for countering drones is divided between the German army and the police forces of the country's 16 federal states. And there are differences over how to respond even within the federal government. For instance, the defense minister voiced skepticism about plans by Interior Minister Alexander Dobrindt to establish a drone defense center. So there doesn't appear to be a coordinated response from the government. Now, in terms of equipment, there are jammers that can be used to interrupt communications between the drone and an operator. And the German army recently purchased interceptors that can be used to capture enemy drones with nets. But military experts are saying that the demand for such equipment is higher, especially given the drone sightings that we've been seeing in recent weeks.
All right. So it is a bit of a disruptive challenge that a lot of countries are facing, particularly in Europe these days. Let's see what they do with it. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment. Chiponda Chimbelu from Berlin. Now, National News Union Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal has arrived in Doha for the meeting of the Qatar-India Joint Commission on Trade and Commerce. Piyush Goyal paid floral tributes to the Mahatma Gandhi statue at the Embassy of India in Doha. He also planted a sapling at the premises of the embassy. Piyush Goyal is on a 2-day visit to Qatar from the 6th to the 7th of October. Now, this visit underscores the importance that India attaches to its trade and investment ties with Qatar, one of our important trading partners in the Gulf Cooperation Council, with bilateral trade estimated at over $14 billion in 2024-25. The two sides are expected to hold wide-ranging discussions, reviewing bilateral trade performance, addressing existing trade barriers and non-tariff issues, and exploring avenues to enhance trade and investment flows. The talks are likely to include deliberations on the proposed India-Qatar FTA, with a way forward on finalization of the terms of reference for the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, or CEPA, which will further strengthen economic cooperation between the two nations. Now, the Indian Navy commissioned INS Androth today, which is the second anti-submarine warfare shallow water craft, at a ceremony at the Naval Dockyard in Visakhapatnam. The commissioning of Androth marks yet another milestone in the Indian Navy's steady stride towards capability enhancement and indigenization. Built by Garden Reach shipbuilders and engineers at Kolkata, Androth is a testimony to India's growing maritime self-reliance with over 80% indigenous content. The commissioning of Androth significantly bolsters the Navy's ASW capabilities, that's anti-submarine warfare, especially in countering threats in littoral waters. Together, these inductions in recent months, Nala, Nistar, Udaygiri, Nilgiri and now Androth, reflect the Navy's balanced growth across the spectrum of maritime operations, embodying the spirit of Atmanirbharta, or self-reliance. India and the European Union will hold the 14th round of Free Trade Agreement, or FTA, negotiations from Monday in Brussels. India's expanding economic strength and its Make in India initiative are drawing greater interest from European companies. which view the country as a key partner for growth, jobs and investments. According to a new Federation of European Business in India survey, already over 6,000 European companies operate in India, creating over 3 million jobs. The European Union remains India's largest trading partner, with goods trade reaching 120 billion euros, ahead of both the US and China. A devastating fire broke out at the trauma ICU of Jaipur's Savai Mansingh Hospital, leaving 7 patients dead and 5 in critical condition. Authorities suspect a short circuit. The investigation is ongoing. The blaze started on the 2nd floor of the trauma ICU, reportedly due to a suspected short circuit. The fire spread rapidly, releasing toxic gases that affected patients, most of whom were in coma. Hospital staff quickly evacuated patients to safer areas, but 6 of them lost their lives. The hospital is providing critical care to the injured. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed grief over the loss of lives. On social media, he has said, and I quote, "The loss of lives due to a fire tragedy at the hospital in Jaipur, Rajasthan is deeply saddening. Condolences to those who have lost their loved ones. May the injured recover soon." Let's now take a look at some other stories making news around the country. Now, preparations are in full swing for India's 93rd Air Force Day, to be celebrated on the 15th of this month. Full dress rehearsal took place at Hindon Air Force Station on Monday. A static display of fighter aircraft, including MiG-21, Sukhoi and Rafale, will be showcased. 97 air warriors will also be honoured on the occasion. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath facilitated sanitation workers at a ceremony organised as part of Swachhata Abhiyan on Monday. The event was organised to recognise the hard work of sanitation workers towards maintaining cleanliness. The 20th edition of FICCI Higher Education Summit 2025 was organised in New Delhi on Monday on the theme Higher Education in a Transforming World, Bridging Borders, Building Futures. Road Transport and Highways Minister of India Nitin Gadkari participated in the event, where he also released the FICCI EY Parthenon Knowledge Report on future-ready campuses, unlocking the power of AI in higher education. Bihar's Chief Minister Nitish Kumar inaugurated the first phase of the 3.6-kilometre elevated stretch of the priority corridor of the Patna Metro Rail project on Monday. The inaugural stretch of the Blue Line will run from the interstate bus terminal to Bhutnath. On Sharad Purnima, thousands of devotees gathered at Prayagraj's Triveni Sangam to take a holy dip and perform rituals. The day is believed to bring spiritual blessings. Authorities ensured smooth arrangements as devotees offered prayers and donations. And still to come on DD India NewsHour. Typhoon Matmo is expected to make early landfall in Vietnam. And India's weather department has issued an orange alert for parts of North India, while yellow alert is on for the national capital.
The land of forests, nature's hidden jewel. Jharkhand is a traveler's paradise. Get ready for a sensory extravaganza, complete with ancient traditions and world-class lifestyles, breathtaking scenic beauties and heart-stopping adventure. Thousands of years of faith preserved in magnificent temples, marvels of new age infrastructure.
Can I resist?
An abundance of prehistoric heritage flowing through generations.
I've heard so much about the expertise behind this vibrant Sorai art.
Discover new horizons. Discover yourself. Discover Jharkhand. Postcards from Jharkhand. on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. Let's get you another look at our top stories before we move on. Political turmoil in France deepens. President Emmanuel Macron accepts Prime Minister Sebastian Lecornu's resignation after naming him for the post just last month. Egyptian President Al-Sisi praises Donald Trump's Gaza peace plan as Hamas, Israel and US negotiators are set to hold hostage prisoner exchange and ceasefire talks in Cairo today. And the US shutdown extends into its 6th day as differences persist between Democrats and Republicans. The White House warns of imminent mass layoffs. And there's setback for Donald Trump as well as he seeks to send the military to cities over objections of their Democratic leaders. An Oregon federal judge has temporarily blocked a bid to send National Guard troops to police Portland. Well, Typhoon Matmo is expected to make landfall early in Quang Ninh province of Vietnam region before weakening into a low-pressure system. Authorities warn of heavy rainfall across northern Vietnam. The downpour could trigger landslides and flash floods in mountainous and coastal areas. Typhoon Matmo comes at a critical time for northern Vietnam as the region is still recovering from floods and waterlogging caused by the previous typhoon Voi. The current typhoon earlier struck southern China on Sunday, bringing strong winds and heavy rains. Flights and ferries were cancelled in the Hainan region from late Saturday in anticipation of heavy downpours. And in more weather-related updates, first Nepal, where heavy rains have triggered landslides and flash floods, blocking roads, washing away bridges and killing at least 49 people, including 38 deaths alone in Elam district of East Nepal. Armed police force officials fear the number of casualties may rise as rescue operations continue. Torrential downpours have lashed Nepal since Friday, leaving rivers in spate and many areas in the Himalayan nation inundated. The government of Nepal has declared a public holiday on the 5th and 6th of October. At least 5 people are missing, while many others have been urged to take shelter in safer places. Security personnel were deployed to assist rescue efforts with helicopters and motorboats. Rivers in capital Kathmandu have also swelled, inundating settlements along their banks. Prime Minister Sushila Karki said government agencies were fully prepared for rescue and relief. Weather officials said rains were likely to lash the Himalayan nation until Monday. Let's get you more with DD India Shweta Singh on the situation. Shweta, what is the latest right now? Is it still raining as heavily as it was over the weekend in Nepal?
Gautam, we are dependent on Department of Meteorology and Hydrology for weather forecast. In fact, we were warned earlier that weather may be not conducive for the people and it may aggravate. But as such, today it was sunny. And you see the roads have also opened. Kathmandu is fine now, but the disaster was worse in Elam. So you see in Kathmandu, federal capital condition is getting better to normalcy. And one road from Patel to Parking have been opened. So we are expecting that at least the people who are stranded on the border or in different areas can travel to Kathmandu soon.
All right, Shweta, let's leave it there for the moment. Thanks for getting that information. Thank you. Now let's get you an update from Bihar as well, where there has been no respite from the ongoing floods in the Kosi region, with the river and its tributaries swollen and flowing above the danger mark in many places. Road and rail traffic is affected due to waterlogging. A city road in Patna near Meetapur caved in yesterday. Around 16 people were killed due to thunderstorms across the state during the last 48 hours. Around 33 panchayats in Supaul district have become flood affected, where the population is being shifted to safer places. Also, life in India's West Bengal's Darjeeling and the Dwars has become tough after heavy rains on Saturday night. So far, 18 people have lost their lives in rain-related incidents. Several locals and hundreds of tourists are trapped in these areas as well. Hill roads in Mirik were closed after a landslide. The NDRF is engaged in rescue operations. In southern West Bengal, several districts are waterlogged because of heavy rain. In the neighbouring state of Jharkhand, the Damodar Valley Corporation was forced to release thousands of cusecs of water from its reservoirs. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee claims it's a conspiracy and her party workers protested at a few places before the corporation's offices. Now let's find out more about this situation as well, particularly what's happening in Bihar. We have Salman, my colleague, joining us. Salman, what can you tell us in terms of how the situation is right now in terms of both the weather and the rescue and relief efforts?
Yes, Gautam, we may expect some relief as the rain has slackened in Nepal. So the water discharge from barrage has also slowed down and around 3 lakh cusecs of water was discharged today from the Kosi barrage. So we hope that the situation will somehow ease out. And but as far as Supaul, Madhubani and Saharsa districts are concerned, the situation is still grim because a lot of people have been displaced from there and took shelter at higher places and they are being given cooked food through community kitchens. Community kitchens are operating in those districts. As you already said, 33 panchayats of Supaul districts are worst affected, where boats have been deployed and NDRF and SDRF teams are still doing the rescue and relief work there. So the situation is still grim, but we hope that the situation will ease out in coming 24 hours. Yes, Gautam.
Salman, we are also joined by Prasenjit from Darjeeling for more on the situation there. Prasenjit, what can you tell us about that part of the country which has again been lashed by heavy rains and landslides as well? How's the situation now? Prasenjit, if you could hear me, just wanted to find out what is the latest situation there in Darjeeling and surrounding areas in the Dwars as well. I believe rain has caused a lot of havoc even further south.
Look, the most unfortunate thing is that the water has come down to the Dwars area, the districts of Jalpaiguri, Coach Bihar and Alipurdwar. And this is the area where there are a lot of forest area where the national parks are there, and the forest area where the deers, the elephants and other forest animals who are suffering due to the high flow of water, and the forest animals, they are now flowing down towards Bangladesh and towards the other areas. The forest guards, they are trying to save all these forest animals, and at the same time the people who are staying alongside the rivers, the local people, the forest guards, they are trying to save the forest animals, and at the same time those people staying in the forest bastis, they are trying to save the forest bastis, and also the forest guards, they are trying to save the forest bamboos. So this is the situation, though the rain is stopped for the time being, but even then the IMD, they have the forecast of the for the some few hours even now, but if the rainfall is stopped, then for some few hours, then it seems that whatever the havoc has happened Saturday night, that will be stopped in some hours from now.
Okay. And what's happening in the south? I believe there was heavy rain in Jharkhand, which led to then the water being released and coming downstream into West Bengal in that part of the state, and then there's been some politicization as well.
Right, that's true that heavy rainfall in Jharkhand has done some havoc in the reservoir of Damodar Valley Corporation. Damodar Valley Corporation has no option but to release few thousand cubic of water for the southern districts of West Bengal, but that they had no option for Damodar Valley Corporation. Some politicalization by Trinamool Congress, the ruling party of West Bengal, but they had no option for Damodar Valley Corporation. But again, the rainfall in Jharkhand has come down, and so from yesterday night, the release of water from the Damodar Valley Corporation reservoirs have come down also, and so the districts in Hooghly, in East Midnapur, in those catchment areas, the water that has also come down in rivers like Rupnarayanpur, rivers like other areas, and the canals that have come down. So that havoc also
let's hope there's relief.
And the politics has also
yes. Let's hope there's relief to be experienced both in Bihar and West Bengal from here on. Thanks a lot for joining us, both
right in North Bengal and South Bengal.
Right.
The politics.
Right. Thank you, Prasanjit. Now, rain has lashed parts of Jammu and Kashmir as well on Monday. The city of Srinagar witnessed heavy rainfall, causing a dip in temperature too. Following predictions by the Met Department of low to moderate rainfall, several parts of Jammu recorded showers. Authorities have announced the closure of schools in Jammu for 2 days. Farmers have been advised to suspend all agricultural activities in view of the prevailing weather conditions. And fresh snow blanketed several high-altitude areas of Gulmarg, Rajasthan Top and Pir Panjal range on Monday morning, covering the region in a blanket of white. Now, amid the adverse weather, pilgrimage to the revered shrine Vaishno Devi has also been suspended. It remains suspended from the 5th of this month till the 7th. And the Indian Met Department on Monday issued an orange alert for parts of North India, including Punjab, Haryana and Rajasthan. Parts of Delhi witnessed rain on Monday as well, amid yellow alert issued following the overnight rainfall. The Met Department has also forecast rainfall in Uttarakhand for Monday and Tuesday. Cyclonic storm Shakti is likely to move over west central and adjoining northwest Arabian Sea and weaken into a depression by Tuesday morning. President Draupadi Murmu presented MY Bharat National Service Scheme Awards for 2022-23 at Rashtrapati Bhavan on Monday. The awards were presented to NSS units, their program officers and NSS volunteers by the President. The My Bharat National Service Scheme is one of the flagship programs of the Government of India, which aims to develop personality and character of students through voluntary community service. This scheme was introduced in 1969 during the birth centenary celebrations of Mahatma Gandhi. Union Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports Dr. Mansukh Mandavia was also present on the occasion. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Sevilla holds Barcelona unbeaten run with a 4-1 beating in the Spanish La Liga.
He is the first Indian to travel to the International Space Station. Group Captain Shukla, welcome to DD India.
Thank you so much.
What kind of preparation, mental, physical, emotional or psychological, went into your travel to and from space?
When you travel to space, you are essentially going and living in a place where life should not be.
What kind of adjustments, to come back to your point, did you have to make to be able to live and work in space?
Blood shifts up to your head becomes bigger, your heart slows down because it doesn't have to push blood to your brain against gravity. All these changes happen. You don't feel hungry initially few days.
Really, you spoke to Prime Minister Modi of India during your time at the station. It would have been a proud moment for you, isn't it?
You imagine yourself being on the International Space Station, and you have your flag in your background, on your back, and you're speaking to your country's leader, and I think there is nothing more proud.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I am Gautam Roy. Now, in a bid to prevent airfares from soaring yet again this festive season, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation has asked airlines to augment flight capacities by deploying additional flights to meet high demand. Following this, the Aviation Ministry has said Indigo has informed the regulator that it will deploy approximately 730 additional flights across 42 sectors. Air India and AI Express will have an additional 486 flights across 20 sectors. SpiceJet to deploy approximately 546 additional flights across 38 sectors. Cryptocurrency Bitcoin and gold reached record highs and investors sought alternative assets amid US government shutdown concerns. Bitcoin, the world's largest cryptocurrency by market value, hit a record high on Sunday and was up nearly 2.7% at $125,245.57 at 5:12 GMT. Bitcoin's previous record was $124,480 in mid-August, buoyed by friendlier regulations from US President Donald Trump's administration and strong demand from institutional investors. And gold is once again making headlines as well, as prices in India have inched close to an all-time high. With Diwali around the corner and global uncertainty rising, across India, 24-carat gold has crossed 12,000 rupees per gram, while 22-carat rates are above 11,000 Indian rupees. Silver too is shining bright with sharp gains. The rally is not limited to local markets. Globally, gold has jumped past the $3,900 per ounce mark for the first time in history. And Japan's Nikkei soared above 48,000 for the first time ever after Takaichi bested Shinjiro Koizumi in the Liberal Democratic Party's leadership vote on Saturday. The yen slumped as much as 2% to beyond 150 per US dollar for the first time since the 1st of August and slid as much as 1.8% to an all-time low versus the euro at 176.25. Sporting updates now, and India thrashed Pakistan in the ICC Women's World Cup group encounter in Colombo on Sunday to maintain perfect record at 12-0 despite a glitchy performance in all three departments. Harleen Deol along with Richa Ghosh and Kranti Gaur set up India's second victory of the tournament. DD India's Deepika Mehta reports.
Team India did it yet again, and this time India's dominating performance and a strong bowling unit outnumbered Pakistan in Women's Cricket World Cup ODI format at Colombia's R. Premadasa Stadium in group stage encounter. India bowled Pakistan out for 159 to register an emphatic 88-run win. Team's best performance came from Kranti Gaur, whose brilliant spell earned her Player of the Match honour. Kranti took 3 crucial wickets in the match against Pakistan.
मेरा इंडिया डेब्यू श्रीलंका में ही हुआ था एंड आज प्लेयर ऑफ द मैच भी मैं श्रीलंका में हूँ तो एंड आज वर्ल्ड कप का पहला मैच मतलब मैं मैन ऑफ द मैच हूँ तो प्लेयर ऑफ द मैच, तो एक पहले तो मेरे लिए बहुत प्राउड मोमेंट है ये, मुझे मेरे लिए एंड मेरी फैमिली के लिए, तो आज बहुत खुश हूँ मैं.
She is one of the famous lady in Sri Lanka as well, because they like our Sri Lankan people, they like her very well, and also some people, of course, they come to see the match because of her, right? Like Tendulkar those days, right? So like Dhoni, like she's a very popular character in Sri Lanka, like, you know.
Fans saw an impressive knock from Richa Ghosh too, and on the other hand, India's Sneha Rana and Deepti Sharma too took crucial wickets to end the game in dominating fashion. Congratulating on the victory, Union Minister Amit Shah took to Twitter and extended best wishes. With this, India extended their records scoreline to 12-0, whereas Pakistan faced their second consecutive defeat in the ongoing World Cup clash.
And there you saw a blistering performance by Team India, from Richa Ghosh's impressive batting to Kranti Gaud's interesting and intense bowling that restricted Pakistan and led India to another victory at Women's Cricket World Cup. First, India defeated the host Sri Lanka, and then India defeated Pakistan at Premadasa Cricket Stadium in Colombo. Now the next stop is against South Africa in India's Vizag, where India will not only aim a victory but will be moving forward with grit, determination and a lot of hard work with performance analysis to lift the title trophy. That is the aim for Team India at the ongoing Women's Cricket World Cup. With camera person Gaurav Giri, this is Deepika reporting for DD India, Colombo.
And Prime Minister Modi has congratulated the Indian para-athletes as well for their historic performances at the World Para-Athletics Championships. A historic performance by our para-athletes is what the PM said. This year's World Para-Athletics Championships have been very special. The Indian contingent had its best ever performance, winning 22 medals, including 6 gold medals. Congrats to our athletes. Their success will inspire several people. I am proud of each and every member of our contingent and wish them the very best for their future endeavours. Hosting the tournament in Delhi has also been an honour for India. Gratitude to athletes and support staff from almost 100 nations who were part of the tournament. End quote. Now, the Nobel honours will be announced starting today onwards and conclude on the 13th of October with research into hormones that regulate appetite seen leading the race for the Nobel Prize in Medicine, the first in this year's season, to be announced later today. The Nobel in Physiology is also expected today itself.
It's that time of the year when the world witnesses a moment of profound scientific gravity. It's time for the announcement of the prestigious award, which fundamentally alters human health. It is time for the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. The award celebrates discoveries that have brought the greatest benefit to humankind, honoring the pioneers who unlocked the secrets of life and disease. The said interests shall be divided into 5 equal parts, which shall be appointed as follows. 1 part to the person who shall have made the most important discovery with the domain of physiology or medicine. This is an excerpt from the will of Alfred Bernard Nobel, the Swedish inventor and industrialist who created dynamite. Shocked by how his invention was used for destruction, Nobel dedicated his immense fortune to recognize those who serve humanity. On November 27, 1895, Alfred Nobel signed his last will, in which he granted the largest portion of his estate to a series of 5 categories of prizes. Physiology or medicine was the 3rd prize area Nobel mentioned in his will. The other 4 fields were physics, chemistry, literature and calmness. Nobel's will specifically stipulated the prize should go to the person who has made the most important discovery with the domain of physiology or medicine. Nominations are accepted from scientists globally, and a rigorous year-long process decides the winner. The criterion to finalize the winner is the discovery's proven long-term impact on medicine, not just promising research, but a paradigm shift that changes treatment and understanding worldwide. The Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine is awarded by the Nobel Assembly at Karolinska Institute at Stockholm, Sweden. The prize money is 11 billion Swedish crowns, which is $1.2 million between 1901 and 2024. The Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine has been awarded 115 times to 229 Nobel laureates. Some famous winners of this prestigious honor include Sir Alexander Fleming for the discovery of penicillin, a finding that launched the age of antibiotics and saved millions of lives, and James Watson, Francis Crick, and Maurice Wilkins for revealing the helix structure of DNA, unlocking the entire field of molecular biology. Last year, the award was given jointly to Victor Ambros and Gary Ruvkun for their groundbreaking discovery of microRNA and its role in post-transcriptional gene regulation. On October 6, 2025, the 2025 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine will be announced, and the world will take note of another discovery, the quiet dedication that leads to a breakthrough capable of changing the world forever. The Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine isn't just an award, it's a recognition of the greatest benefit to mankind.
And somebody in the White House might be watching, looking out for the awards very closely, especially the one in peace. Well, that's all we have for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. Just scan the QR code and download the app. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.